Tomboy for sure, what is up? Back with another My Queer Dreams episode. The first part is kind of more relevant to queer dream, but then there's like a second dream, and then a third dream that I don't know. Maybe it was four dreams. I don't even know, man. Like, I've been, I don't know. Like, I've been having a time. I guess just some back story. I've been kind of trying to adjust my tolerance to different things, and since the fires, I was kind of really pounding on the THC and CBD edibles. They're usually in gummy form, the ones I get. In addition to that, melatonin gummies, and on occasion like vitamin gummies, because I can't swallow pills, so it's like I've been having all these gummies, and I feel like it's been like kind of messing with my intestines, because I'll be having like I don't know how many gummies a day, up to like sometimes up to like 6 gummies. Not all just edibles, but like if I put a total, it's like a lot. And then the last time I purchased melatonin gummies, I like those Ollie. I think the brand is called Ollie. But I made the mistake of, I saw the prices. I looked at the dosages. There's like the 5 milligram ones and maybe the 8 or 10 milligrams or something per gummy. And then I made the mistake of just looking at the prices after that. So I was like, well, this other one is like quite a bit cheaper. But I forgot to look at the dosages, and it was like the last one I purchased was like 2 gummies for 3 milligrams. So to even get like 6 milligrams, I would have to have like 4, and then to have like 9 milligrams, I'd have to have like 6 6 gummies. And I was like, dude, that's a lot of gummies like every night, just eating like it's basically like eating candy every single night. And I was kind of wondering, like I felt like it was maybe affecting my gums, like my teeth. And in addition to that, just kind of like, I'd have like a cannabis gummy sometimes too. So like I've kind of dialed it back, because I ran out. So I'm like, well, let me just not buy more. And so I haven't really been sleeping that normally. Like my sleep is way off, and then my dreams are like really crazy. So I've been having a lot of really weird dreams. So I'll just say, so let me see. I guess some other context that I wrote down, like that I used ASMR to kind of fall asleep, to kind of wind down. It's kind of my second night without doing some other kind of sleep hygiene types of part of my relaxation. Other than the gummies, there's like other stuff that I do, and that I've been kind of like not doing that. And then, I napped in the daytime, but, I was able to fall asleep probably near midnight last night, and woke near 1:50 a.m. I guess the previous night I woke up near like 2 a.m. as well. The night before that I don't fully remember, but I feel like it sounds similar, but I don't remember. So Thursday night I don't remember, but Friday night I was having kind of a similar situation, and then Saturday night, which was last night, I was like I didn't sleep that great. And then I'm kind of keeping track too, because like a lot of my dreams have like themes of like food, like reoccurring food, like there's always like food involved somehow. And I don't think I'm hungry at night. Like I don't feel hungry. Like maybe there is like some kind of cortisol blood sugar thing happening, which is kind of like leading to like the weird dreams and waking me up, because I do tend to eat fairly early dinners, but I don't really know exactly what's going on with that. But this is kind of how things go when I don't have anything. I'm not taking anything to really go to sleep. Like my sleep eventually gets to this point where I'm having these really like wild, vivid dreams, and to me they kind of just like feel disturbing, but they're not like content wise. Even when I'm talking about it, it's like it's not really scary. It's just like not relaxing maybe, but like I had a dream like that the other night, like on Friday night too, where I was like, when I woke up, you know, it was some like church related dream, just very briefly. Just it was like a church related dream where I was in some church and there were all these like artifacts and like, you know, it was a very casual dream. Like we were at like a fast food line and going to church, and it was like a bunch of people I grew up with, and it was like some kind of church that was off of a normal time and not in our normal building, and maybe we were borrowing that church from someone else. It was like some other culture's church. I don't even, or temple or something. I don't even know if it was Christian or some other religion, and it had all these artifacts, and like there was some reason why when I woke up, you know, I was equating like what the artifacts were with these like dome little caps with these crosses on them to some kind of term in the or phrase in the Bible where it says synagogue of Satan. And like I don't know why, like I don't know where that came from, but that was the dream that kind of kept me up when I woke up near 2 a.m. on Friday night. And that's what left me, you know, taking a nap on Saturday. And I had a really relaxing Saturday, mostly caught up with friends, and I was on like Marco Polo sending messages and just like texting people and watching stuff I wanted and like reading things. I just had a really relaxed Saturday. Didn't do any work, nothing really productive. I did have a little really weak coffee, and I haven't been drinking coffee that much. I have been doing just like basic workouts in the evenings, but yeah, like I don't know, like the only thing I can really think of is that, you know, I haven't been having the same edibles and that kind of stuff. So that's the main thing that I'm thinking is really what's the culprit that's leading to all this like weirdness. But you know, it's like the weekend, and I wasn't really needing to be like so alert. So I was like, let me just let it happen this weekend, and then I'll get things back on track like during the week. During the week, but that was like, it's just kind of funny like how it's been unfolding. But so the queer dream part is kind of short, but then I'll go into the weird. There's a queer dream, a weird dream, and then I guess another dream that was like, I guess I would call it a another dream, I guess. I might, after I talk about all this, I might actually forget what that other dream was, because I'm right before I hit record, I kind of remembered it, and now I'm like totally blanking on what it was. Oh no, now I remember. Let me see. I'm just writing some notes. It was about Vegas, kind of. Okay, there were two parts to that dream that I'm blanking on the second part. But anyways, my queer dreams, I guess I'm calling it potty, like bathroom potty. I don't really know what else to call it. I was writing this at like 2 in the morning, so I don't really know. But basically, in the dream, I was in my old elementary school for some reason, but as an adult. So there's a part of that school where like there's a gym, and I was kind of in the gym, and the way it's arranged, the way the school looks is like if you're in the gym, toward like the back wall, I guess it would be the front wall of the gym, there's like this other hallway where there's these restrooms. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like if you go past those bathrooms on one side of the hallway, there's like a male bathroom on one side where you could come in, where there's a door from like the sidewalk that's outside, and yeah, you would go past that to get into the gym. Or there's the women's side where you could go into that door from that side of the sidewalk past the women's bathroom, and then in. But when you pass the women's bathroom, there's like a kitchen area, and like opposite of the women's bathroom, and there's like where we would line up we used to line up there to go and line up for our lunches for school, and like across from where we would line up for lunch, like that hallway that's kind of between the bathroom and the gym, there would be um, a like a lost and found, like it was mostly like coat hangers and stuff, and there would be sweaters, jackets. If somebody, like a lunch supervisor or a teacher, or if somebody would leave their stuff somewhere in the gym or outside, usually you could find your stuff like on that wall somewhere, like either like a lunch pail or something. It would either be on the coat hanger, or it would either be on the coat hanger, or it would be um, um, yeah, yeah, it would either be on the coat hanger or kind of like on the ground if the coat hangers were all taken, or if it was something that didn't have a way to kind of like hang it up. So I don't know if they've rearranged the school or not. I haven't been there in like years, but basically, in this dream, I was an adult. It was like current times. I was there, and like men or women could walk on either side. It's not like a men's side and a women's side. It's like you could walk on either side, but it's just like the bathrooms are either on one side or the other. And they've built there used to be like a kind of open space, but then they built like a classroom. So now like there's like the sidewalk that lines that side of the building, those two doors, and instead of being able to go into that open space, once you go in the two doors, there's a classroom. So now it's like a hallway. There's hallways on both sides now. But when I was younger, there used to be like tables in that open space. There were no walls on that side. You would walk into the door and it would just be an open space, and then the doors to the bathrooms were like right there. But now they've built like walls that are right on the sides of from the doors all the way to the bathroom, pretty much. So all you really see when you walk in is like the bathroom and like a hallway on either side, depending which door you would go in, because there's two like gigantic doors. So basically that's kind of what it basically looks like. I was in the gym part, and I was at the back of the gym wall. There's something that I was thinking about with like the lunch line or the lost and found. I don't remember like what was going on with my mindset then. And that bathroom, there's also restrooms outside, but those bathrooms inside, usually they're used when I was there for grades 7 to 10, like for the older students, or maybe it was like from grades 5 to 10 or 6 to 10 or something like that. Now I don't think that school even goes up to 10th grade. I think it only goes up to 8th grade, because they took out those 2 high school grades, probably because of, I don't know if it was because of funding or because of credits or what, like, but you know, it's a school where like you didn't finish high school there, you'd have to always transfer out. And I don't feel like it was super competitive compared to other schools like in that area. Like the public schools I think are actually better in that area, but we weren't like too far behind, but we weren't like math wise, I think we were on track. There were a little bit of other subjects where I'd say like we were kind of way behind, as far as like chemistry, biology, that kind of stuff. We learned, I mean, when I was there, I'm just talking about when I was there, we didn't learn as much, but we were pretty strong in like math and religion. Um, so, and like spelling, reading, writing, that kind of stuff. History was kind of like, I think we were kind of like not, I think we had social studies or something. I don't know if we even had like U.S. and world history. I know I took those later on. And I think they used Bible as like history and like religion classes, and like classes that were like related to religion. I don't know. It was a weird school, but shout out to private schools. Um, but yeah, I heard in this dream, I heard people in the bathroom, which were possibly students, and in my mind, I was thinking, I don't want to go inside because, first of all, I no longer knew anyone, and I wasn't familiar with any of the staff. I didn't know any of the students. I didn't even have anyone that I knew that had like their brothers or sisters or like kids going to that school. So I was like, because I've been pretty disconnected from that community of people for a while, other than like the certain people that I'm kind of reconnected with that are also kind of like, we all kind of grew up in that weird environment. But basically, I guess the queer part of the dream was because I was disconnected, and it has like a religious kind of tinge to it, and I was dressed kind of in like some kind of more mask presenting outfit. I was worried about how it would be if I walked into the restroom. Like I didn't want to either confuse people or make it weird, or for somebody to think something because they didn't really know me, or for someone to like assume I was a guy, or for someone to think that I was some kind of like prowling lesbian or some like weird like prejudiced religious person to like, approach me. So I was kind of hesitant, and it wasn't like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom that bad. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of like part of the dream that I was like, oh, I know my way around, so I could go into that bathroom. And there was something going on with like the area near the bathroom that had to do with either the lunch line or the snack window that's near the kitchen, or the lost and found, or just some memories attached to it, but I don't really remember. But that was that part of the dream. Did I wake up? No, that dream became a different dream. The different dream was that I was about to go outside to smoke weed, and in this dream, my mom was inside. She was inside her room, but with the door open, so I could hear that she was on the phone, but we were like about to have dinner. So I was like thinking like, let me go outside real quick and smoke some pot. And then there was a large like Carl's Jr. bag on the table, like you know how they have those paper bags. And I didn't really look inside, but I kind of patted the outside, and it seemed like there were like 2 large burgers in there. And I was like, okay, so there's 2 large burgers. And then so I was like, well, let me sneak outside real quick while she's on the phone. So I took my mug. I have this cool, like, it's like a pipe. I don't know what you would call it. You can smoke out of it, but it's like this mug that's designed that a friend gave me for a birthday. It was really awesome. It's got like a bowl on the front of it. Opposite the bowl, there's like a handle so it looks like a normal mug, just with a bowl, like a pipe bowl kind of look on the front, and it's like a clay mug, glossy clay mug, and there's a little hole on the handle that you can smoke out of, and there's that other hole like on the side that you use to like control like the airflow with the flame and like take a bigger hit or whatever. I don't know what that hole is called, but basically it's basically a pipe, but like because of the way it's built, it's like a solid like large mug, and like it you can take big hits off of it. I think my friend said it was from like Spencer's Gifts or something, but I really like it. I use it a lot, but I was using it like Friday because, like I said, I haven't really had edibles, but I had it in the car, and it's still in the car. So in the dream, I went and I got it out of the car because it's still there. Yeah, but it was already in the car and had been burning from the previous day's smoking session. I mean, this part is all the dream. It's not real. I was a bit confused and worried, so decided not to keep it inside the car anymore. So after smoking, I was like rushing to smoke. I was like, I'm just gonna take like a hit or two, trying not to get like caught. And then I was like, so after smoking, I closely kind of like inspected it and realized that like it was continuing to just kind of like smoke, and I was like, yeah, I should have put it back in the car, but I don't want to take it back in the house in case my mom's like out of her room by now. And so I basically took it on the side of the house where there was like this flower bed on the side of the house. We don't really have an actual flower bed there, but there's like, it's kind of like off the side of like a concrete walkway. There is kind of like dirt and like grass, not like groomed grass, but it's like just wild grass kind of growing because there's like a faucet for the hose, and so there is kind of like, something there, but it's not something that we actually actively use for a flower bed. There's a flower bed opposite that paved path, and then there's a flower bed out in the front near where I park, but there's no actual flower bed there in real life. But in this dream, there was a flower bed with really loose, like dark soil, and it was like loose enough soil that I could just kind of like, without digging, kind of just like twist my hand while holding the handle of the mug, and it just kind of easily just like got buried in there because I was burying it in there to hide it. And then and I was like, I'll just get it later because like no one's gonna come out here in the middle of the night and like find my mug. So I basically buried it so that like the handle was sticking out like a little bit. But basically I went back into the house and I asked my mom if one of the burgers was mine, and she mentioned they were both hers. So I proceeded to a closet or a cabinet that we have in the kitchen, but in real life we just use it to store like rice cookers and like crock pots and stuff. But in this dream it was like storage for actual like food. So we had actual food stored in there, or I had like food stored in there, and I had a few bags of kind of like different brands of like rolls, like those kind of like sandwich rolls. Like one was like some darker kind of like rye looking bread, and then the other, or maybe they were like buns or rolls, but you would have had to like slice them to make it into a bun. So they were like whole, and like maybe like bags, like just a clear plastic bag that had like a bunch of them in there, like fluffy bread. And then and basically I was going to make for myself some chicken burgers that I'd recently purchased from Whole Foods, and that's for real. I do have 2 chicken burgers. I was like, well, I'm just gonna make these chicken burgers and put them on these rolls, and that'll be my dinner. And then I guess there was another part to this dream that later I was in a car with my mom. I was driving, and the car we were driving, I was driving we used to have this old, like when my sister was born in like 92, we got this old like Nissan Quest. I don't know when we got it. We maybe got it in like 93, 94, or 92 or somewhere around then, but we got this old Nissan Quest. It was a red Nissan Quest that like is old and beat up, and like it's a minivan basically. So I was driving this minivan. I was trying to explain to my mom where something was in this area in LA that's called the Torrance Crossroads, and there's like an In-N-Out in there, and I was telling her about something that was like, I was trying to explain something that was in there, and I was like, yeah, you know where the In-N-Out is, just to kind of give like a reference point. And then like so we drove into this Torrance Crossroads area, and it partly looked different. It looked more like the Rolling Hills. Like there's like this other plaza that's like I don't know if it's called Rolling Hills Plaza, but it's where the Rolling Hills AMC is at, the AMC 20 in, I don't know if it's technically Lomita or Torrance or what city in LA it is, but they're not far from each other. And so like in the dream I was like going over to that plaza. Like it looked, there were kind of some overlaps between one plaza and the other plaza. They kind of had like two, like some of the stores were different, but then some of like the landscaping and like the way the roads, the different streets you drive on inside of those plazas, like the different roads were kind of like similar to the other. So it was like a combination of the two. But technically, we're at Torrance Crossroads. But parts of it looked like this other place too. And then we drove past like a sidewalk of pedestrians, and there was a truck driving, and people started walking super strangely. Like they were kind of like starting to like rush, like because I guess there was a lot of people walking. It's kind of like when you're at like a music festival and there's people walking, and then there's people in the back that like want to walk faster, so they start pushing, and then like other people start pushing, and it's really annoying. It was kind of that kind of vibe, but we were in the car. And these areas aren't this packed at all. Like it's not usually this way. Like this is just in the dream. But yeah, we drove past the sidewalk of pedestrians, and the truck was driving, and people started walking kind of strangely in that way, where it was like you could tell there was like some tension with some people wanting to move faster, kind of how they do at those music festivals. And one pedestrian was a Latino guy with like an emo haircut and kind of like those tight like pants, wearing kind of like all black. And then like he ran and then walked kind of almost right in front of a moving truck, like, and everybody saw it and was like gasping and like oh, like whoa, like he almost got hit. And then like, but he was okay. But the truck was driving like maybe as fast as you would like residentially, like 25 miles per hour or something, and everybody saw it, and we're all like, oh, he's gonna get hit. And then he like the truck stopped like right in front of him, enough like to not hit him, but he was like inches from getting hit. And kind of like the way he was walking was very kind of like weird. And then yeah, like I was driving, and then on like, I guess you know how the old minivans used to have those windows on the side where it's like they had like a little clip, like they were kind of hinged on one side, and then it wasn't like a roll down window. It was like you would kind of just like unclip it and then like push it out a little bit and then clip it in place, so it kind of like was kind of like out, like I don't know, like the air was going in like in a certain way like that. And then basically let me see. Yeah, the side window was open on the minivan, and it was on there were pedestrians on my driver's side on the sidewalk, and they started pressing in closer and closer to the point of where the window was kind of like scraping on some people, or like you could hear it like touching some of the people. And some people were complaining that groups behind were pushing them into the cars and stuff, but the cars were all driving slow because it was kind of like gridlocked, kind of like when you're in like traffic in like a shopping center, kind of like that, and you're trying to like drive, but it's like you still have to wait. So like we weren't like driving full speed, but I was trying to move, but just had some inches between where my lane on the passenger side would end, and then the next car would be like right there, because it was really tight driving space and really tight pedestrian walking space, because people were like crowding the sidewalks and then walking off the sidewalks like onto like the curbside by the street, because there were so many people. They started walking closer and closer to the cars, to the driver's side of the cars. And then but everything was moving slow. It's not like this was like fast paced. It was just like everything was kind of like getting more and more intense little by little, because we were stuck in traffic. But then the people, I don't know why there were so many freaking people, but there were a whole bunch of people. It almost reminded me of like when you're at the mall during like holiday time, and there's just like all that traffic in the shopping centers and just like people all over the mall. It was almost like that, like a lot of people more than what's like your average, but not something you would like never see. But it's just like, this isn't like a normal like type of day. It's like maybe like Christmas seasonal type of like shopping congestion, like that amount, or like a music festival or something like that. Just like a lot of people, and Let me see, where was I? And basically, yeah, there was like a tight space. I was trying to dodge the pedestrians as we slowly drove. One lady, it was a black lady, she fell, and I could kind of hear her like hit like the window, and I guess like not hit with her hand, but like part of the window I guess scraped her. She was like bleeding and she fell, and she had all these bags she was carrying from shopping. And I got out of the car and I kind of put my hand out, like somebody else was helping her kind of stand up, and I kind of reached out like my right hand to be like, hey, like, so she kind of took my hand and like we kind of helped her stand up, and part of her face was bleeding from someone pushing her like into the side of the car. She fell, and then like myself and another person made sure she was okay, but meanwhile everybody's still driving and walking. I walked over to this center island. You know how they have those center islands with the landscaping and the flowers, and like there might be like a walking path through it, or you could walk. There might be bricks and stuff, but it's you can't drive there. It's like a curb up, and then you. But I helped her onto that like little center island, and then like she had her bags like spread out, and some of her bags were like falling over in the plants and in the bushes and stuff. And she was asking where one of her bags was, because she just wanted whatever it was in her bag. She was just like kind of like, screw it, like I don't really care like what's going on right now, like I just want, I think it was food that was in one of her bags. She was just kind of like, can you help me find like my lunch or whatever? And so I'm like looking, and then she finally finds, I don't know if it was her lunch or some other belonging or something, but she ends up finding it. And then, yeah, I was helping her search for it. She found it. I remember thinking some of her bags look cool, like the designs. Like one of them was like this thin frosted plastic with like this neon and like this bright blue teal kind of color scheme to it. And like I was looking at some of the bags, and some of them looked really kind of like cool. It wasn't like any brands that I recognized, but it was kind of like cool, like upscale looking, like kind of like really modern, you know, bags of wherever she had been shopping. And she had like probably like 6 bags or something. Some of them were like boxes that were like kind of nicely like a nice, you know, when you buy something cool off of one of those like internet stores, and like the packaging is like a cool box of some kind. It's like that kind of stuff. She had like that kind of stuff where it's like the packaging looked really cool. Um, I helped her organize her bags from the belongings that were falling out, and then about all of a sudden, like 20 drones like rose up from behind like a nearby building, and they were like making threats, saying like stop or we'll shoot. And then like so all of the pedestrians were like, you know, like, yeah, they were, after they said stop or we'll shoot, after the drones kind of, there was like speakers coming out of the drones, and they were like stop or we'll shoot. And then like they kind of gave some form of other instructions, like it was like some announcement, like and they started buzzing around me and around the lady and around some of the cars and the pedestrians, and people were like trapped like in this like traffic circle area where I was like in that landscaped island area with her. It was kind of like a traffic circle if you were actually like driving. And then we were kind of trapped there. The drones were like circling everyone near there, and kind of like they were getting closer and closer in after they all flew out from behind this building. They were getting closer, kind of closer to the ground, and they were kind of like herding us into this like into the area where we were, so that nobody was like leaving. You couldn't drive out, you couldn't walk out. They kind of like made everyone who was like within that kind of region. I don't know what happened to the car or my mom in the car or what. Like the dream doesn't go into that, but like I guess I just left her in there and was like helping this person, and just the dream just moved on from there. But that's, I guess that's the part that was kind of stressing me out. Like these drones come up, and then they kind of like herd everyone, and they're flying closely like above our heads, but then they start getting lower and lower, so we keep ducking. And then like we had to kind of like stay down and like crouch down because they started flying lower and lower. And then each of the drones kind of had themselves kind of pointed and focused toward like some group of the people so that we couldn't like escape or like leave. And this is like broad daylight, like the middle of the day, just like trying to drive to like a shopping center or something. And then one of them somewhat like bumped, one of the drones kind of bumped into my shoulder as I was like crouched down, and I felt like really irritated, and I got just kind of like mad at it, and I kind of like shoved it, kind of like you know, like when you're a kid and you're like play fighting or something. I didn't like hit it, I just kind of pushed it like away from me. And then like I was kind of like kind of mad dogging it, kind of like scowling at it. And then it seemed like it was trying to like threaten me, like kind of it wasn't talking, but the way it was like just like focused directly on me, trying to like intimidate me. And we were kind of like in this standoff. I was just like looking at it, and it was just kind of like focused on me. And I basically looked at the device, and I was trying to locate and see like where a weapon would be on it, because I was like, okay, it said like we'll shoot, but I'm looking, like there's nothing that looks like it would be like a door, like a shutter that would like open, where anything would come out as like a weapon, or like I don't see any external like, you know, barrels or anything like that where there would be like a gun for them to shoot or anything. So I'm kind of like, maybe they're just like faking it, and I kind of stopped believing it a little bit, but it did seem like it was trying to threaten me. And I couldn't locate a weapon or anything, and it was making that kind of that little like weird whirring sound, like the kind of buzzing sound that drones make. Like I was getting kind of angry because it was threatening me without reason. Like we weren't doing anything. We were like at a shopping center, driving or walking around. Like nothing was happening, and it wasn't just threatening me. It was threatening like everybody who was in that area, because there were a whole lot of people. And I don't really know the context of the threat, but it seemed like it was just trying to like control us. But you know, I was mad because it was just like intimidating, using some kind of intimidating tactics, and like asserting some kind of authority that had like no reason behind it, because we were just living our normal daily lives. And then I wrote down how they looked, like the drones kind of looked, they were like black. They were they had panels kind of similar to like how satellites have those panels, like those kind of shapes of panels that could like move and like pivot. But they were small, because the drones weren't small. They were bigger than normal drones. I'd say it was like, they were probably like, they were thick and had like all these panels and stuff, but I would say overall it was probably like the size of like a chessboard, like probably about that size. Like they weren't like huge, but like they had all these panels and stuff to help them with whatever, I don't know, it was part of the technology. But I've never really, it looked like little satellites almost, like miniature satellites with these panels. But all the panels were kind of like black and glossy. There was like a small like camera lens looking thing for like the eyes or whatever, of like you could see it kind of like with the shutter kind of like opening and closing as it would like focus. And then there were like these holographic type of surfaces on some of those like panels that looked like those satellite panels. And the panels could like flip around. It helped them like as part of like their navigation, but I think it also had some kind of technological like, maybe like technological function to it. I mean, it was a dream. I have no idea what these things were, but the parts of it were like a matte black, and parts of it were like glossy, and then parts of it were like this holographic kind of tint to it. And then they were, yeah, like I said, they were larger than regular drones, but they weren't like huge. I didn't find any guns on there, and like there was nothing external that looked like a gun or something where like a gun could like come out of like a door or something. Like there was no, like nothing like that on there. So I was kind of like, maybe I felt like a little skeptical, because I was like, I don't want this thing to kind of like do anything to me, but also they weren't doing anything but like pointing at us, like they weren't like doing anything. So I was kind of thinking like, well, maybe nothing's really gonna happen, and they just want us to like be obedient. But like it didn't seem like they were like firing in the crowd or at the cars or anything. They just kind of like, once they kind of made that warning and kind of flew out and got us all in one spot, we were just kind of there, and they were just kind of like focused on us, and there were no other instructions, nothing else. All that happened was one of them kind of bumped me, and I got mad and like pushed it, kind of just like, don't touch me kind of thing. But like, I was like, okay. So I woke up after that. That's when I woke up at like 1:50 and wrote all that down. And I was like, what the heck, And then I eventually went back to sleep. I had this other dream that I don't even know what it was. Like I was somewhere in Vegas. It was like night or evening. Before that, we were actually in some kind of lab. We were in some kind of lab. I don't remember the reasoning. I just remember being in like a lab or like a hospital or clinic, and we were like seated on, I think we were seated on the floors and the windows were closed. We were hiding from something. I remember that happened. We were like hiding from something. I really don't remember it though. Like we were just hiding from something. It was daylight. We were in some either like labs or like hospital rooms where we were kind of trying to hide out because there was something in the hallways that was like trying to like, again, it was like some sci-fi type thing. It wasn't like a real, I don't think it was real humans. It was like some other kind of like futuristic thing where we're like hiding out from it. And I'm not watching like horror movies or sci-fi movies or anything like that. The last movie I watched was called The Fighter with like Mark Wahlberg, and like, otherwise I've watched like documentaries and stuff. I haven't been watching anything intense. I haven't been doing anything intense. So these dreams are just coming out of nowhere. Like, but yeah, I forgot that part. There was that part. That's the part that I was saying I kind of forgot. So that happened before this other Vegas kind of dream. So whatever happened, I don't know. I can't think of more of what happened in that other dream. So that was like a third dream. Or fourth or fifth dream at this point. I don't even know. Like, because I guess technically the first dream was the queer one. The second dream was the one where I was gonna like eat with my mom or something, and I was trying to smoke weed outside, and that one. The third one was this weird like drones one. That's the one where I woke up. Then when I went back to sleep, I had this dream about kind of crouching down, like trying to not be seen through these like hospital or clinic or lab type windows, and like hiding out with people because there was something kind of like trying to like do something to us that we didn't want, but I don't know what it was. And then there's this other dream that like I was basically somewhere in Vegas, like kind of like maybe by the strip or just somewhere where you would just be people watching, and somewhere where there were cars. And I have this Indian friend who, his mother was there with us. I don't know if he was there, but his mother was there. And she was like, why would people buy a yellow car? And I was just thinking like, I don't know, but the best thing I could come up with was, as a theory, was like some of those people, maybe they have so much money or so many cars that like to them it's like a car is more like a toy, so they're just like, it doesn't matter if it's like some bright weird color. So that was kind of the theory I'd come up with, and I was kind of explaining how some people are like super wealthy, and then there was some other childhood church friend there and a couple other ones that were like playing soccer, kind of like kicking a ball like across the street and stuff, and we were trying to get from point A to point B. But these guys were kind of like playing soccer, passing the ball back and forth, like across the street, across the crosswalks, stuff like that. And then I was thinking, like, I can't tell if we're moving slower because they're the ones in the front that we're trying to like follow to get us to this next destination while we're walking there, all of us. Or like, because they weren't moving slow, we were moving. I was like, well, maybe we're still walking at a normal pace. because they were like athletic guys. They were athletic, and so I was like, well, they were kind of jogging and, you know, coming kind of like a little staggered back and forth, but I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't really say anything because we are moving. Like, it's not like they're just staying in one spot, and it didn't seem like we were moving that slow, but I was kind of like, okay, we're trying to like get somewhere, can we like focus? And they were like trying to play soccer, but like we were kind of, I was kind of like, I probably won't say anything because it seems like we're actually like moving, and we didn't know where we were going. We were following these guys. And that was the last dream I had last night. So, this is what happens when I don't take anything for my sleep. Um, it's just, as you can tell, my mind is just, it's pretty active. It's not helpful, but, I might rename it. I might not call it potty. I'll call it the old school. I'll call it the old school. I'll call it masc clothing and the old school. I don't want to call it potty because I don't think I actually in that queer part of the dream actually even went into the bathroom. So it was just kind of like the focus of like maybe what I was thinking about, but I'll call it something else. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have another night of like crazy sleep, because when I'm up, like I try to write these things down, and then it takes me a while to write it down. It looks like it took me like 16 minutes or so to write it down, and then I basically and it might be because someone else is awake in the house too. Maybe I'm being woken up because my mom's up at like 2 a.m. And so maybe that's what's happening. I'm kind of getting woken up and not really noticing it because I did remember, you know, I went to the bathroom, then I kind of sat down and wrote this stuff out. But then when I came back, like by the time I was done, you know, when I looked out of my room, all the lights in the front of the house were kind of like turned off. So I'm like, somebody was up like between when I woke up and when I wrote this down. Somebody was up at like 2 in the morning. So maybe I'm just kind of like getting woken up at those times because somebody else is up. But because I'm a pretty light sleeper, like I don't remember being woken up, but maybe just like, you know, just the shift of like energy of people being like in places in the house. I might be kind of picking up on that. I don't really know. Okay, so, but yeah, it wasn't just a queer dream. Like the queer dream was like a very small part of this. It wasn't the majority of this story, but I had a lot of dreams. Like I had like a couple dreams before, like 3 dreams when I was sleeping between like probably midnight and 2 a.m. Then I woke up for maybe an hour and a half or so, and then went back to sleep till maybe, I think I woke up around 7:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. and I had like those other couple dreams. So I'm not sleeping well. I'm waking up. I'm up for a while. I'm kind of waking up a little stressed. I mean, that drone dream kind of stressed me out, but it's crazy. I was like, what is going on in my head? But I have actually been feeling a lot better. Like my stomach has been feeling better, not taking all these like gummy things, gummy things, and then I just feel like my energy's been better. So, I mean, the last 3 days it maybe hasn't been, but all the other days before that, it's been good. It just started getting bad the last like 3 days, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. So, and now into Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. But I don't know. I'm gonna do what I need to do online, and then maybe take a little break after lunch before the Super Bowl. I'll maybe have a late lunch and then take a little break before I watch the Super Bowl. Have dinner near the end of the Super Bowl. I don't know. And then kind of probably work out. At night. I don't know. Like, it's just kind of weird. But I wouldn't say that my life isn't stressful, that I have nothing going on. But it's like, it's not, I don't know. Maybe I'm like underestimating. I don't really know. It's just really weird. I'm just like weirded out by having all these like crazy ass dreams. It's really kind of crazy. Like, what's going on? But I kind of know why, because like since I've shifted kind of some of my routines and stuff, that's when all these dreams started coming up. Like, and it's not restful dreams, but like I said, they're not nightmares. They're just like really weird. It's like really vivid dreams with all these weird like different routes. And then, but I kind of like writing them down. I'm like, well, at least it gives me content. Like, but I need sleep more than I need content right now. Like, I don't need content. So I don't know. But sorry, I'm on this squeaky chair. But yeah, that's all I've got for you guys now. Have a good Super Bowl. Hopefully this was at least entertaining. I don't know if it's stressful. I don't feel like it's too stressful to listen to these stories. I'm not the best storyteller when I'm going off of my own notes, because I'm writing this stuff at like 2 in the morning. So it's like, and I'm trying to fill in some of the stuff that I'm not writing, because I don't want to write all the details and just read it word for word. So I don't know if the stories even make any sense. My dreams don't really make that much sense. But maybe there's something to them. I mean, you can interpret it as you want, but I mean, I'd say clearly I'm kind of stressed out or just not relaxed, but I'm going to see what happens if I kind of test out that other kind of relaxation thing that I've been kind of skipping out on. I'm going to see if doing that kind of makes up for some of this and kind of gets things back, you know. Maybe it'll help me. I don't know. But I need to get that weed mug thing out of the car. It's still in there. I don't know. Oh man. But yeah, I'm taking it easy today. I'm working on projects that I want to work on, and then otherwise I'm kind of just gonna take it easy, eating good meals and getting some exercise and hydrating and having some vitamins. I'm gonna have some emergency. It's got like B vitamins in it at least. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening.